Good morning.
You are listening to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Good morning.
It's a lovely Wednesday morning, the third day in the month of December 2025. Bit of morning to you wherever you're locked on to the sound of Lagos, famously known as Mainland 98.3 FM. And it's Morning Express that comes your way from 5 a.m. all down to 11 a.m. Trends in the paper today is on Mainland 98.3 FM. This is where we look into the several trends, updates, stories, either new or developing stories that we have in our dailies this morning. So you're welcome on board. My name is Mᴏᴜ Akinyosoye. Of course, we'll always make sure that we fulfill our promises to keep you abreast and updated about what's going on in our papers. You know, we flip through, we peruse the pages of our papers, majorly the Punch newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, which I'm sure that's a majority of the stories there will also be in all our dailies. You're welcome on board. My name is Mᴏᴜ Akinyosoye. Without further ado, you can join us live on Facebook and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. As much as we have been able to resolve whatever challenge we've been, facing there from the beginning of this week. But as much as we would like for you to always enjoy the conversations we bring on board, we'll definitely make sure to put everything in place for you to enjoy. Right, so you're welcome on board. You can join us. The handle is Mainland 98.3 FM, either on Facebook or YouTube, whichever is most convenient or for you. You can also download the Radio Garden app, so you can listen via the Radio Garden app as well. You download the app and then you search for Mainland 98.3 FM and you get to listen and join the conversation via that channel as well. You can also join our social media community, Facebook. It's more of our programs, even outside, what we do here in the live studio, right? And you subscribe so you can get notifications of any contents that we put out there, definitely. I have Said Fawad will be helping us with the analysis and perspective to these issues. Said Fawad, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Lady Mo. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing too?
Good, very good. Thank you.
Besides for me, I don't know. It's just that I don't know if I can say the same because I will not be able to travel for this festive period. We have the challenge of navigating my way to the village via road. On road, and now we're having a flight hike. Fee, is now over 300,000 naira. What we used to have like 100,000 naira. Now we're having like 300,000 naira. I don't know how. Will you borrow me? Will you lend me?
I don't know. I think Nigerians because again, if you're talking about people who are going to be taking flights back home, I consider them privileged Nigerians, because for you to be able to cough out anything above 100,000 on a one-way journey to go home. Now, the reports are saying that, look, all of the bookings in December are showing upwards of 300,000 and above for a one-way ticket.
Right.
So what it means is that if you have to fly home, especially in the south and the southeast, if you're going to be going by flight, you'll be ready to cough out close to 700,000 to and fro. So those are not ordinary Nigerians. Anybody that's able to afford that cannot be considered an ordinary Nigerian. So I think that for ordinary Nigerians like myself, what again? I don't have anywhere to go to again. I'm from this part of the country, so my own has to just take bus if I have to do anything, So, but for those who would have to go to the south and the southeast, particularly, because again, you know that when it comes to the Christmas and New Year celebration,
Right.
I think it concerns majorly our southeast fair now. I think the reasonable thing to do, especially for poor Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, if you can send the money home, just send it home and just do video call.
Because aside the fair, you are also going to. You don't want to go home. You don't want to go to the village empty-handed. You go with
gifts,
bearing gifts, and all of that.
For poor Nigerians like myself, will be bound to using the road and road transport now. Journey by road now. You agree with me? Would be you taking a very big risk.
Right.
Nobody needs to be told about the situation of the country when it comes to traveling by road. So again, it's just about people checking and rechecking again their priorities and seeing how to manage through this period. I think the reasonable thing to do, if you are desperate to go, why not? I'm sure there are people that will still go by road. But if you can avoid traveling by road at this time, I think it's reasonable to do it. And whatever money you would have used to, get a bus ticket, just send it home, do Zoom meeting. It's just unfortunate because a lot of families meet during the Christmas and New Year period, especially for our Southeastern brothers and people from the South. So that's when they see their grandparents, they see their parents, their brothers, everybody comes home, children reunite with one another. So, but again, it is what it is. People have to live by current realities. I think must think of their safety first before any festivity.
Side forward, definitely this is coming from an update we are getting. This is not just talks actually, because I just started on the lighter notes, but it's from a report we are getting across our dailies this morning about the local flight breaking to over 300,000 naira mark, right? Like 150% and crossing to 300,000 naira, as definitely we'll be having travelers experiencing astronomical rise in air ticket rates due to the high passenger volume associated with the Yuletide season. And of course, usually during the Yuletide rush, airfares are raised due to the high demand for tickets. But this season, passengers even say prices of air tickets are out of reach following the various economic challenges. And even operators are saying that the shortage of aircraft is also further compounding the airfare hike.
Demand more than more demand, less
yes, because they are saying aircraft shortage. They are ascribing one of the reasons also for the aircraft shortage to maintenance e-corps, that many of the airlines planes are packed in different maintenance, repair, and overhaul hangars scattered abroad, right? A lot of concern actually. They also blame the low number of aircraft on multiple charges and unfriendly government policies, and also appealing to the government to stop seeing aviation as a revenue generating sector and instead reinvest funds, amassed from aviation back into the sector. One of even the airline, this thing had to, I think they had a collaboration with a company they had to rent like a few aircraft, and now they are withdrawing and all of that. So many challenges actually now, and it should be thought about. Aside on the lighter notes, we have serious challenges. To travel on road is a very big problem. And now you want the alternatives that you want to likely consider is now like, I don't know,
out of the reach of the ordinary people.
Out of the reach, side forward.
And I think we have to pay attention to what the airline operators are saying. Because again, consistently they complain about multiple taxes, multiple levies.
Yes.
And that look, they are overstretched. They are overstretched to the point where it's already becoming overwhelming. And get money as a result of this renewed aggressive revenue drive of the government. Again, from the report, you can see that we don't even have enough aircraft locally, to even meet up with the demand, local demand of people who want to travel to different parts of the country. And as safe as traveling by air is, it is important to ensure and maintain safety standards. So it's not a means of transport where you want to compromise on safety protocols and standards. That's where you fly. So no pilot, for example, would want to put himself at risk or the entire cabin crew or passengers at risk by flying an aircraft that is not certified fit to fly. If you understand what I'm saying, because it's not some. It really the thing about the gear, right? You can't say, "Well, you know." So it's unfortunate. I think we have to pay attention to these things. Again, the government needs to understand how essential, this means of transportation is to a few privileged Nigerians. I'm sure bus fares too are going to be going through the roof. I'm talking about airfares. I know that if you go to our bus parks now, this period is going to see bus fares also going through the roof.
Oh, of course, traditionally is the seasonal pattern. Like that. Yeah.
So, but again, me, if I was someone from the south or south, I'd rather send that money home and we keep ourselves in contact over the phone. If grandma cannot handle the phone, get somebody to do. But the problem again, there are some parts of this country where internet becomes a problem. But I'm sure Nigerians have a way of sorting themselves out. We'd also hope that the government would deploy more security on these routes, to keep people safe. Let's hope that we'll have a safe and peaceful Yuletide celebration, Christmas and New Year celebration.
Right. We definitely hope that, because the festive period is a time where we are supposed to relax. You're supposed to enjoy your journey. You're supposed to see the families, because that's been the tradition, really. Where that's where even some people, they've seen their families for so many years. They have to try as much as possible the festive period to come together. Family bonding, family bonding and all of that. And we're having several challenges, even relocating or locating your family to have a family bond together. Anyway, I hope even from the government commitment to making sure that this is seamless, because even the former Director General of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority is also calling on the federal government, to do whatever is possible to support Nigerian operators, especially in the airline, to achieve more capacity at this time. Well, we have that in our dailies this morning, and of course across our papers. The Guardian newspaper, the Punch newspaper has that very story. From the Punch newspaper, we have that on page 9. On local flights break 300,000 naira mark, and the Guardian newspaper has that even the bigger story. Chaotic Yuletide travels loom as 15 airlines face 65% capacity dip. That's on page 6. Such a heavy one and challenging.
So for the local airlines, they are not even able to put up all their aircraft.
Yes, capacity shortfall. That's majorly what they're talking about. Capacity shortfall. Page 6 captures that in the Guardian newspaper, and we also have that across our papers. Away from that, quickly, let's talk about the insecurity issue, because we'll keep talking about that on a daily basis till we see and find effective solutions to all of this issue. The across board as well, we have meetings while Nigerians, lawmakers, the security architecture or security personnel, the presidency are having, meetings about how to tackle even the northern governors, traditional rulers coming together, the southern governors also coming together to look for how they can tackle the insecurity. The U.S. lawmakers are also still, having their Nigerian government is not enough. And so they need to do more. Maybe collaboration and everything. But while the U.S. lawmakers are having their a meeting about the insecurity issue to tackle a couple of the initiative that they insecurity and the implementation of the state police and all of that. Now, also, yes, to take that with that, we had Tinubu also meeting with security chiefs, right? The president yesterday had a closed-door meeting with service chiefs and heads of security agencies at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa in Abuja, and they were spotted arriving at the Presidential Villa, which is barely hours after Tinubu had nominated Chief of Defense Staff, that's General Christopher Musa. We said yesterday that they had a meeting and afterwards we had resignation of the defense defense minister Badaru, and also speculations where maybe Musa will come in to take over. And of course, we had the nomination of the former chief of defense staff, that's General Christopher Musa, retired, as now the Minister of Defense. Right after the resignation of Abubakar Badar. So they had a closed door meeting yesterday where he was nominated. But that also, I want to pick that together, because there are all efforts to tackle this insecurity issue. The meeting so far going on, the effort so far, the resolutions, and what the steps that needs to be taken. But reactions have trailed, the nomination of the nomination of Musa, yes, General Musa. According to precisely the former Kaduna Central Senator Shehu Sani, he said that we need an experienced leader to head Nigeria's defense ministry. After the resignation of Badar, that I want to quote him now. He said, whether the defense minister resigned or was removed, the defense ministry needs an experienced hand to lead in view of the exigencies of today. Nigeria historically fought in the First and Second World Wars, contributed forces for the restoration of peace in the DRC, Congo, Tanzania, Lebanon, Somalia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Sudan, etc. The nation should be able to defend itself against these criminal bandits and terrorists. That's according to Shehu Sani side forward. That's a side to the reaction.
Another angle to this story,
yes,
yeah.
Another angle to that.
Okay, well, again, I don't think this issue of insecurity will go anytime soon. Again, it's the most important part of our national lives, because every other thing comes secondary. I always say, without security of life and property, every other thing that the government tries to do just becomes, knowledge becomes completely useless. Now, the U.S. Congress, they are still having their congressional hearings, and I think it was this time it was the Appropriation and Security Committee,
yes,
that sat on this issue, and the resolutions are still largely bipartisan. So, you still have situations where almost at a consensus level, there's a call to the Nigerian government to do more. They've talked about the negligence, the complicity, and the fact that the Nigerian government, for so many years, have refused, to do the right things to nip this in the bud. Yes, we will continue to have this argument about whether more Christians are being killed or Muslims. Because again, I saw that one of the Congress men or woman was trying to do a data analysis of the number of Christians that have been killed as against the number of Muslims on a ratio basis. But I think the most important thing that we need to focus on as Nigerians is to say that, look, no Nigerian deserves to die. If the U.S. Congress people are more focused on the number of Christians that are dying, I think for us as Nigerians, the focus should be that whether you're Christian, Muslim, pagan, whatever you are, or you're just a non-believer, nobody there deserves to die. Nobody decides to be abducted. Nobody deserves to be kidnapped. And so the call must be on government to ensure that all Nigerians, irrespective of faith, religion, ethnicity, are protected anywhere and everywhere in the country. So these congressional hearings will continue to happen again. This one that was done yesterday was at the instance of President Trump. So which means that President Trump is still very focused on what is happening in Nigeria. He has talked about the need for the Nigerian government to step up, else he's going to come down and blazing. So that's a report that we need to continue to focus on and continue to see what would happen from the American angle. Again, there might, if it's going to be about military operations in Nigeria, I'm sure there are going to be some congressional approval. That's why they're having this hearing. They will have to subject it to voting at the end of the day. But back home, Lady Mo, we can see that whatever is happening in the U.S. is having serious effect on governance back home when it comes to the issue of security. Now, the Minister of Defense has resigned. That was clearly a case of a round peg in a square hole. Lady Mo, we mentioned it severally. I told Sage on Monday too, or maybe it was you yesterday, that look, one of the biggest disappointments for me from this government was the appointment of Badaru.
Yes, you mentioned that yesterday.
Because again, one had thought that look, with ministerial appointment, the president could have filled politics. That look, when it comes to appointing people for those positions, politics was going to take a back seat. One of them was the issue of security, the defense. So when we saw, and you know, for people who come on radio to tell us, ministerial appointment does not matter. Maybe it's just an administrative job. Maybe you have done seen. You know, because there are people who just want to be seen wrong, and you are not able to point it out. It does not mean that you love the president. What it means is that you are just a mere psychopath. That is sheer psychopathy. When you know that right now, and you don't want to say it because you think you love the president, you are obviously a psychopath. We said it, if you remember, Lady Mo, that look, what would you say is the criteria that had qualified Badaru and Matawale to be appointed as Minister of Defense and Minister of State for Defense, Lady Mo? As governors, what were they able to do? What was their background? What is that thing in their CV that qualified them to be chosen as Minister of Defense and Minister of State for Defense? And look at the result now. Complete failure, 100%. And we've also talked about the capacity of the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, to deliver on the job. No, we are not saying the president should not appoint these people for political considerations. Oh, there are so many positions that are still needed to be filled up. In fact, as ridiculous as it may sound, if we need to create more ministries to accommodate them, they should go ahead. At least we created the Ministry of Livestock.
But not for sensitive positions.
If the president still wants to accommodate them, there are positions. At least when the APC chairman, Ganduje, stepped down, what did they become?
FAC, the fact board chairman.
Also, you know, so they can do that. You know, there's a lot. You know, if you sit down with politicians, they will tell you that there's enough to share among themselves. But don't share those sensitive areas that concern the lives of the people, that concern the living standard and the safety of the people, the economy of the people. For example, the issue of finance, Ministry of Finance, agriculture. Look at the Minister of Agri, 괶ᴏ that you even know it.
Have you even spoken about him this year?
Yes, and there are a lot of ministers who are missing in action. Some of them just hibernating. Some of them lost. You don't even know what they are doing. They have no direction. They are not doing. They are just there passing around. Not occupying space. But you know, we don't really bother with them because their action or inaction does not really affect us. If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
But for the issue of security now, people have to begin to ask questions. What is Badaru doing? What is Matawale doing? And the conclusion is that these guys were completely considered misfits for the job. And what we are saying is that now that we have General Musa brought back as the minister, you know, it is important for us to also look at the entire structure, security architecture. And I agree with General ᴜᴜᴜ. So it's not just about bringing Musa back. The man that will be deputizing him as Minister of State for Defense, we need to remove that one too. Yeah, okay, it is not even qualified in the first place to occupy that position. Then we also have to look at the National Security Advisor, because whether you like it or not, they have to work together. I think as it stands, the ministers who on security matters would have to still consult the National Security Advisor. Can we give Malam Nuhu Ribadu another job and get a thoroughbred, I was talking about us reaching out to top generals. Some of them retired. Some of them serving. Who told us it was going to be a problem having a former policeman as National Security Advisor? The chain of command was going to be problematic. The issue of internal security. Rest. How well has he performed? The decision to extend his tenure. Is it causing friction? Are there problems within the Nigerian police? The entire police architecture, the entire police hierarchy, are they really happy with that decision of the president? We need to check and recheck. So there's a lot that the president needs to do now. And going forward, I think we must have learned our lesson. We've wasted almost 3 years of appointing people who are not fit into positions now. There might still be a lot. Well, again, we still have some opportunity to correct this wrong. But then the president must be holistic. He must take politics out of it, do the right things, fire people that he needs to fire, and get people who have got what it takes to deliver on the job to do the job.
Said, even an opinion column in the Guardian newspaper is talking about that there is sudden resignation of the Minister Mohammed of Defense, Minister Mohammed Badar Abubakar, may signal further exit from the Federal Executive Council in coming weeks. That his exit on Monday, had already intensified speculation about an imminent cabinet shake-up. That although it is not for anyone to predetermine the president's next move, that strong indication suggests that more ministers could be eased out as the administration edges towards the 2027 election cycle. He had brought an abrupt end to his tenure at a time when the nation is intensifying effort to confront mounting security challenges. Side forward.
It's just unfortunate because as it stands, once we cross into 2026, maybe more, it is safe to say that the first term of this administration, if they get the second term, but we can say that the first 4 years, if politically speaking, it has ended because we're already on the home stretch. What it means is that the entire 2026, there'll be more politics. In fact, you can see that even from 2024, we've been discussing 2027. The entire 2025, we'll be discussing 2027. So I don't know what the shake-up will do to the performance of these ministers. If we are going to rate most of the ministers, a lot of them are scored below 10% in terms of performance. In fact, if we want to check and recheck, only a few of them would cross the 50% mark in terms of performance and relevance. But they've been there now for almost 3 years. They move. Basically doing nothing, fussing around.
Definitely.
There are some ministers now you begin to do a list. Now you understand what I'm saying, that look, these guys are just with far-reaching implications on the living standards and the lives of the people. Can we take politics away for it going forward? But very important appointments. Look for people who are qualified. It's just like when we're talking about ambassadors. Maybe you hear people say it doesn't mean they are Nigerians, they are qualified. There's nothing that means. About they are Nigerians, so that's the way it is. As ambassadors, what is their level of understanding of international politics and diplomacy?
And it's peculiar to the country you are going to represent Nigeria in.
These are just pure facts for screening without portfolio. We are sending ambassador designates to the Senate now, no portfolio, we don't know the country they will be posted to, and there are people who say it doesn't matter. To them, nothing matters. So far it is coming from the president, and they say they love him. You hate him because you are just a pure psychopath. It's just pure psychopathy when you know that it is not the right thing to do. Look at where we are on the issue of security. Have we not been complaining about it? Have we not been talking about it? When Badaru and Matawale were chosen, didn't we complain about it? That what have qualified these people to be chosen as ministers of defense and ministers of state for defense? Look at where we are now. Almost 3 years now, we are now trying to correct what we from the one have been complaining about. How did these two people qualify to become ministers of defense in this country? But there are people who say it doesn't matter. Because anything the president does is okay to them. Pure psychophancy.
Right for it. Yeah, we are in for so many things, really. Because still speaking about, even amidst the efforts, the meetings, because the House of Rep is going to be meeting today again, speaking about a couple of things. Just yesterday, side forward, no fewer than 19 persons, including 5 students of Rivers State University, were kidnapped by gunmen in Rivers and Imo states just yesterday. And this is just coming a day the House of Rep asked the federal government, to fish out the killers of the 5 policemen in Bauchi community last week. And so, in the Rivers attack, we had the gunmen suspected to be members of a cult group. In early hours of yesterday, they abducted at least 5 students of the Rivers State University in the campus, and the victims were reportedly taken at gunpoint from their off-campus residence in Mᴏᴜ local government area of the state. And it was gathered that the students living outside the campus at last week, protested the persistent attacks they have been getting and, harassment by cultists, appealing to... A student actually, fortunately, narrowly escaped the abduction, but pleaded definitely anonymity and saying that the gunmen invaded their residence around 2 a.m. and, shot dead the security dog before proceeding to, seize the victims.
You see why we say that, look, these things have to, we have to find a way to nip this in the bud quickly, maybe more. Because again, every criminal out there now, in any part of the country now, wants to go into kidnapping and abduction. Yesterday we were still reviewing it too, where it was said that a woman kidnapped or abducted the child of a friend's son. So even in this country now, we already see people even abducting themselves and then telling their families to pay ransom. So you can see that whatever is happening up north, majorly up north, it's already beginning to spread. The thinking is that, look, these guys are, again, because you see these things on social media, where bandits basically are displaying their ransom. They are presenting themselves as people who are making big money from these things. So what you now have is that, look, for every criminal out there now, they're already looking at, the prospect of going into these kinds of things. Now, this is in Rivers State where one of the campuses, students have been complaining of attacks by people suspected to be cultists. You can see that from the report that it was identified that these are most likely cultists who had already been before harassing the students. Now they've abducted some of them. Sure, you see. So you can see that this abduction is becoming a national emergency. Well, in the same report, they also talked about Imo State, even though they said those ones are suspected to be X-men.
Yeah, that their boss were hijacked.
The whole boss. Yeah, they hijacked the whole bus and took away all the passengers. That's in Imo State. And when I said that people should be careful about their travel plans, I actually know what I'm saying. So Boko Haram had become a problem in the northeast. Buhari came 8 years, it became almost like a national emergency. And one had thought that when President Tinubu was coming in 2023, insecurity was going to be a major concern for him, and take away the idea of even trying to bring political elements into it. But look at where we are now, 3 years down the line of this government now, we are now trying to correct these things, and it has now become a problem that might not be easy to solve. When we talk about hitting the ground running, it means hitting the ground running on very important issues by ensuring that politics take a back seat. You don't play politics within, you put in people who know what they are supposed to do, and we're going to commit to doing it. Badaru Matawale, how, where, how? Just tell me how and where that appointment came about. Let somebody come and tell me what would have influenced the president's decision to have chosen Badaru and Matawale for appointments in this government. You see people, look at the ambassadorial list. It is completely nauseating and annoying to say the least. If you really want to check and understand what it's supposed to be. But there are people who say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look at where we are. We are now have our situation being discussed by the U.S. as if we are children. It has to take a Trump to put out a message for the Nigerian government to sit up. It has to take a Trump to insult us and wake us up from our slumber. Because all the while that we look, you made the president how? Did he collect my wife? Look at these things and you just wonder the way some people think.
Right.
Look at where we are. Just imagine where we are now. I don't know already yet.
God help us. Page 2 captures that side for us. Still trends in the papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. In the Punch newspaper, the Guardian newspaper also capturing on Tinubu meeting the security chiefs and nominating the ex-CDS Musa as defense minister. Page 3 in the Guardian. And the Vanguard also has that the story of the kidnap on page 4. Let's quickly talk about what's happening in the PDP. Yes, so yesterday we know where he's going to, of the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke, and unfortunately they were able to have a primary yesterday still even with the onshore of them having the primary yesterday. And they had a primary, and luckily for them, I don't know if luckily or unluckily, I don't even know what to say, that emerging is Ademola Adebayo emerged as the PDP candidate for the 2026 Osun governorship election. He polled 919 votes out of the 957 accredited delegates who participated in the exercise in Oshogbo yesterday. That's the updates on that. And still speaking about the PDP, right? We also have the Wike, Fayoshe, and 9 others also getting their PDP expulsion certificates.
Certificate of expulsion.
Yes, formally, dispatched expulsion certificates to the 11 prominent politicians, which involves the Wike, Fayoshe, in what the party, according to the party, they described it as a decisive move to, sanitize its ranks ahead of the 2027 election. That's just the summary because of our time. That's just the summary of all of it.
Let's just quickly talk about it. Well, the convention had the faction that emerged, the leadership yesterday on that terminal Suraki, had a meeting, the PDP National Working Committee meeting. It would have been nice to know the location of the meeting, because I know that the Wadata Plaza has been locked and barricaded by the police. I don't know whether it has been opened, but I suspect that they have discovered their meeting somewhere else. So yesterday they resolved to eventually dispatch letters of expulsion, certificates of expulsion to Wike and others, and they said they sent it to them. I am sure that by today or tomorrow, the Wike people too will send their own letters to them.
Yes, because they were both sacked it. I mean, they both suspended each other. After the convention,
counter suspension. So you see counter dispatch of expulsion certificate to happen too. Then on to Osun State. Very interesting development, you ask me. Almost 24 hours to what was supposed to be the conduct of the primaries. Governor Adeleke resigned, officially notified Nigerians and the party that he had resigned from the party and will not be seeking nomination from the PDP. So, but interestingly, yesterday, the party primaries were held, and a candidate has now emerged from the PDP on the ballot paper that was used for the primaries, and there were delegates at that event. Also, interestingly, Lady Mo, some officials of INEC also monitored their primary. They were there. So, but it was done, it was concluded, a candidate had emerged only for the Speaker of Osun State, so that anybody did anything, and that it was Seyi Makinde who had brought in people from Ibadan.
Yeah.
Or that those people were not known PDP members in Osun State.
According to
the
Ibadan.
But the question would have asked Governor Adeleke and his Osun PDP people is that, were they sleeping or they were busy dancing? How did someone announce the winner? They left only for you to now come and say somebody called you from. Well, what were they doing when all of that was happening? In your face. So again, I think what would happen? For their own primary.
With the state of the PDP.
And then also bring up another candidate. So you might see 2 candidates emerging. What happens is that Adeleke will go and look for another party. I'm sure he's in talks with who is going to emerge from another party. The APC has said they don't want him. Because again, I've always said the Osun APC is strong to the point where accepting the leadership of Adeleke was going to be a problem. You have people like Omi to now be their leader was going to be a problem.
Right.
So we'll see which party Adeleke will emerge from. So interesting times ahead for Osun politics.
Really?
We'll continue to keep our eyes on it.
All right. Thank you very much, Said Fuad. Just for information's sake, the NSCD is now they are under pressure to meet the new demand. Despite having a specialized VA moment, they are not sure if they are going to be meeting the Edo Assembly had summoned Two Baba's wife after the viral video of them, with heated arguments, blah blah blah, and all of that with their marital issue. And so the Edo State House of Assembly has summoned the lawmaker representing the Ego constituency to explain what members describe as behavior capable of embarrassing the House.
So when Honorable Natasha appears before that committee, what would they be asking her?
The assembly is the speaker said the assembly is noted and made of cerebral minds. We should not be drawn into unnecessary scandals.
So the assembly wants to delve into a marital
issue.
So they want to ask her what is causing problem in your marriage. Why are you people fighting?
I don't know. I don't know what they will ask.
It's not like this. It's not like the Senate summoning the Senator Ned Nwoko
about his issue and Regina Daniels. Aside for I don't know. Maybe they will have it
now.
I have
so
to
go.
Aside for we have to go. Thank you very much for your time.